Hablando de Sleeping with Sirens. First of all, Nick, it's an honor. Thank you so much for your time this interview. How do you been? How do you been here in Mexico?
It's been amazing so far. I mean, we've just kind of just been in our rooms, trying to reassemble. But we're very excited for the show. We've heard there's been people waiting for a few days, so we're very, very honored to be here.
Cool. Now, talking about the new album, The Madness album, tell us, you changed labels. How much also changed the creating process for this album if you compare it with the last one?
I think working with John Feldman on a record definitely changes the way you approach songwriting. I think it's probably our most grown-up album to date. Very, very proud of all the songs on the record, and there's been a really amazing reaction with the fans with the new songs. It's been really incredible. So
now, Nick, if you have to say which song was the most hard or difficult to finish of this album, which one would you choose?
I don't know. There's really no. If we had any difficulties with finishing a song, we essentially just scrapped it. Okay. So really, we want to make sure that every song felt very natural and smooth. Because if we didn't have that, then we just kind of say, well, on to the next one. So I feel like it was a very smooth record for us, surprisingly. So we were definitely happy with that.
Cool. Now, talking about a great single, in my opinion, my favorite Sleeping with Sirens song, because of the music, because of the lyric, Kick Me. Tell us the story behind that song.
I mean, I feel like everybody has a moment in their life, where they feel like at their lowest point, and I think having the thought process of, well, I can't get any lower than this, so fucking kick me. Like, I'm down here, like, as far as I can go, The only way to go is to go up. So I think putting a positive spin on something very negative is kind of what we were going for with that.
Now, we're a music video channel, so I'm going to ask you about some videos and tell me what you remember about making it. Start with Congratulations. Nick?
I wasn't in it. I'm the new guy.
I just remember it was very fast. It was kind of one of those last-minute videos. I remember wearing those giant heads. It was very fun.
In Nashville. Was that Nashville?
Yeah, I was in Nashville. We all got to get into different characters. I got to be like this nerdy guy, and I got to essentially just beat the shit out of these giant heads and confetti shooting out. It was fun. We had a blast doing that one.
Cool. Now the other one, The Strays.
That was a lot of fun to do, actually, because we did it overseas. We were in the UK somewhere, and we had actually shot a video before that for it in the States that we ended up not using. So it's kind of an interesting process from what the first video was that no one's ever seen to what the second video is that everyone has seen.
At some point, do you have the idea of release that other video or no?
No, probably not.
Is there a specific reason why not?
It was one of those videos where the director, he wanted to be like way too artsy for his own thing. Had nothing really to do with the band. There's just weird shit in it, like this girl in this bunny costume, and it was bizarre, dude. It was real bizarre. The cool thing about the video that we did release for Strays, though, is all the people in the video are actually fans that came out. We tweeted and said, hey, if you want to be in the video. So all the kids that were there, are fans of our music, and it was awesome to have them there.
Cool. It's great to watch the support and the loyalty of all these fans for so many years, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm new to that.
Yeah, of course.
I've been there for 2 years now, so I guess I've seen at least a progression from what it was when I came on board to what it is now. It's definitely very crazy seeing, us coming to these countries for the first time. Yeah. And seeing kids, sing along to every single word and scream their asses off. It's amazing. And it's all to the new songs, So it's good that, the latest record is translated really well over here.
How hard is to maintain focus when the success and the fame come not fast because you started in 2010, but yeah, if you compare it with other bands, yeah, it could be probably kind of fast.
I'd say just to not let it affect you. I mean, we've always just kind of been a band that is just focused on whatever is going on here and now. We don't think about the future. We don't think about the past. It's just whatever we're doing here is what we're focused on. And, we appreciate all the success, but it's just one of those things where it's kind of bizarre in a way. So you just kind of go, okay, well, here we go. I mean, like, for instance, we're playing here, it was like 4,500 kids or something. We didn't know that until like 3 days before we got here. So for us, it's just like, all right, well, here we go.
Now, Nick, how can you describe the first rehearsal that you had with the band?
It was a little nerve-wracking because I actually didn't know them that well. I'd only met them a few times. I talked to Callan a few times. So there's definitely, going into it a bit timid. But I've been doing this for a really long time, so there was that confidence going into it, knowing that I had the right attitude. I knew I could play the song, so I guess that confidence kind of
Cool.
got me into the band.
Awesome. Now, Kellen, you have done a lot of collaborations. I'm going to ask you about two and tell me what you remember about it. Start with, of course, a band that you know pretty well because you have toured with them, Pierce the Bill for King of for the Day.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those, that whole process was kind of a last minute thing. Vic called me and said, hey, I got this song. I was wondering if you want to be a part of it. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that'd be awesome. And I remember tracking my part for that and sending it to him and he was like doing, because when he's in the studio, he's very locked in. He doesn't like ever be on his phone. So it took him like 5 hours to get back to me. So I'm like, fuck, you must hate this part that I sent him. And he ended up sending, a response back that was like, dude, I love it. It's awesome. And it turned out to be a lot bigger than I think both he and I expected it to be,
Now the other one, Memphis Mayfire, Miles Away.
Yeah. Me and Maddie have always been really good friends, and so that one was a little bit easier. It was just kind of a no-brainer, like, hey, do you want to be on a song? Yeah, it was simple, But as I continue to grow as an artist, I've gotten the opportunity to work with a lot of, new artists. You'll be hearing a lot of collaborations with me coming this year. I can't really talk about it right now, but some big artists, some very monumental artists for me growing up. So that's like the only hint I can give you. But it's an older band that's making a comeback, and I get to like be a part of it, and it's one of my favorite bands. So.
And I think that kind of experience that's why you're here, right? Because that's making a living.
Well, for me, like I love to perform live, but my favorite thing to do is to write music. Like that's where I love to be in the studio creating songs. Like that's my favorite part. So.
Now, talking precisely about creating songs, I know that you just released Madness, but do you already start the creating process for new songs?
I think there's always, like he said, I think first and foremost we're musicians, so we love creating. There's always that itch and that urge to just want to keep on writing music, and I think it's important for us to keep on releasing new music and keep on working towards releases. Not necessarily saying we're going to do something at this time, but just making sure that we're always, greasing the wheels and keeping it fresh and making sure that we're still, creative and have those juices.
So probably not in 2015, but in 2016, it could be new music from Sleeping with Sirens.
Probably almost guaranteed. Yeah. And another thing for us is every record that we create, we want to kind of surprise ourselves. So, I feel like you never get that same Sleeping with Sirens record twice. It's always something kind of new and different.
Now, talking about social media, internet, it has changed the game a lot. Do you think that it helped at the end music or it hurt at the end music?
There's a fine line between it, Sometimes I'll catch myself reading through comments and I'll be like, I gotta stop reading these. Super frustrating sometimes, because social media is giving, fans the opportunity to get really close to artists and to communicate, which is awesome. Love that. But it also gives, I guess, people the opportunity to say things whereas they wouldn't be able to before. Yes. So it's like, it gets a little frustrating in that sense, because we're all getting older and it's just, it's definitely a whole new ball game for us, But I think that it is, we just are always kind of going with it, Go with the flow. If you're not on top of it, then you're behind it. So.
Now, talking about social media and your relationship with Mexican crowd, it's your first time here, but since a long time, there's a lot of people wanting Sleeping with Sirens, and in internet you can see it every day. Do you also see it? Do you see all the support from Latin America? Yeah,
we definitely see a lot of support from Latin America for sure. And it's like anytime we post a tour, it's like there's probably 10 to 15,000 comments from kids that are just like, why won't you come here? Like, what's wrong? Why are you gonna come here? And it just never has been able to line up until now, Even this tour was almost not gonna happen because we were supposed to have some support and it kind of fell through. And so we're just like, fuck it, let's go on our own. And it's been awesome. I'm glad we did.
And a lot of your fans are thankful because you're here. There's a lot of girls outside. Now, no, it's true. Do you know? No, because I think it's part of this new generation of rock that is not just like dudes go to a rock concert.
Yeah.
It's also girls that go to this concert, and I think it's good because sometime probably in the 80s there's also a lot of girls, but yeah, in metal, like big metal, if you go to a concert, there's no girls at all. So it's good to have that mix.
Yeah, growing up in the 90s for me, like going to concerts and shows, there was very minimal amounts of girls there ever.
Yeah.
It was always just crazy punk rock kids and skinheads that were just very scary. You know, it was a different time. So it's nice to see that, you know, kind of break down those borders of genders. You know, it's good that everyone can come out of all ages, you know, of any gender, and everyone can have fun no matter what.
I think it kind of stems from like the whole like Jonas Brothers, One Direction, 5 Seconds of Summer thing. Like, you know, like those kids that hear that music on the radio will go to those shows, and those artists aren't very accessible. It's like you can't really meet them, you can't really shake their hands and touch them and stuff. So it kind of trickled down into our scene, you know, like with bands like ours and Pierce the Veil and stuff, where it's like you can meet us and it's not $1,000 to meet us, you know what I mean? And it's just, I think it's cooler for kids to be able to say, yeah, I got to take a picture with them and I got to like touch them and stuff, you know.
And in my opinion, you're maintaining the rock alive, because this is a big crisis in rock and roll that you see headliners, that there's also always headliners from the AC/DC or I don't know, or the Strokes, the new one, no? And it's 15 years ago since they start. But do you feel that you're this new generation of rock, of okay, yeah, we're gonna rock, because probably, for example, Imagine Dragons, that it's really successful, but it's not that rock that much.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you're part and you're like forming this new generation of rock?
I don't know. That's a very hard thing to claim. I think that you're right in saying that bands like Imagine Dragons, you know, other artists in the quote unquote rock scene are more indie rock. You know what I mean? Like more of like that kind of, it's almost more pop than rock.
Yeah.
And I think that this scene that we're in, like, you know, the Warped Tour scene and the underground kind of scene or whatever is the rock scene, you know? And I think that it's all just based on participation and support from fans. Like, that's the only reason any of our bands exist, which is something that's very huge. It's not about a major label, it's not about billboards, it's not about like all that shit. It's just about the love of the music, you know?
That is the way that rock started growing up in different decades, right? Like independence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time this interview. Welcome. Anytime you want to come to Mexico, you're more than welcome. And a lot of fans are really happy to have you here. So thank you so much for your time this interview.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.